Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is pretty exciting. We are finally on the final update video for the Signal Sleuth. For those that have been with me from the beginning, back from when this was the original idea for the Signal Sleuth, thank you. We now have a working version of the Signal Sleuth. I've gone obviously completely away from this version. Maybe we'll revisit this one day, but for now, that's just a retired idea. And this is the new Signal Sleuth. It all started with Joseph Hewitt's War Driver. I'll have links to him down in the description. This is what I've been selling as kits. This War Driver with 2 battery pack. Basically, it's going to be the same thing as a Signal Sleuth, or the Signal Sleuth at the same thing as it, but the Signal Sleuth has the BW16, in which there are currently 2 different versions of the BW16 kit. The older version with a USB micro and the newer version with USB-C. They both have the same brain, but there are some little differences about it. But I have designed the Signal Sleuth to work with both of them based on which jumper pads, which way you jump these pads on which board you use. But yeah, this is the Signal Sleuth. It's got all of the standard components as a War Driver. I decided to go away from this all direct solder components and move back to using different modules so that it can be sold as a kit and can be assembled as a kit. Obviously, you can assemble this as well as a kit, but it's a much higher level of entry to get into, especially some of these smaller SMD soldering. But one of the things I really did want was I did want PCB mounted antennas, so I kept that. These particular mounts have the SMA connector and pigtail into these wires, which connect directly to the microcontrollers. We got the same screens, 2 ESPs. We've still got the temperature sensor if you want it. Really, the only difference is, if we look at an ESP30 or a War Driver, is we have swapped out the SIM 800L and its diode for the BW16. The rest, everything else is the same. I have specifically gone with this size for a reason. There's some empty space that can obviously would have allowed me to make it more compact, but I have gone with this size for a reason, and I'll show you in just a second. This was an idea. This is gone. This will not be on the final version of the board, and I'll go over some of the other changes on what I have to change. But the reason I went with this form factor is for the 4 18650 battery holder, module, hat, whatever you want to call it, that works with the Signal Sleuth. So I'm going to press this button here on the side and it will power the Signal Sleuth on. I'll go ahead and let it do its full power up while we continue to talk a little bit about it. Obviously, as you can see, it'll run with less than 4 batteries. These are all wired in parallel so that, and they charge, this board will charge them. It'll charge through both USB-C and micro. And this switch here allows you to power or charge something off of the USB-A up here. So not only are you war driving with it, you can also use it to charge something in, if your phone's dying or something and you need to get your phone back up a little bit, it'll allow you to charge it. As you can see on the screen, hopefully, it says mod there, just showing that it is set up for the BW16. Before these do actually ship out, I will have a assembly video, just like I did with the War Driver. I'll do one with this. But yeah, So it works. It's booting. It'll go and show all of the stuff it sees around. I probably won't get GPS lock because obviously I'm inside and that typically doesn't work very well. But we'll at least let it get here so you can see that it's got everything. It's got your 2.4 coming from the ESP32 numbers, the BW16 numbers, the temperature from the temperature sensor, Bluetooth. It does still say GSM, but we do not have a GSM card. One thing I have noticed different with these 4 battery boards is instead of double tapping the white button to turn them off, you just hold them and that turns it off. So let's open this up and I'll show you what is going to change on the final revision of the board, the main workings of the final revision of the board. Some of the markings are going to change, and if you are one of the original pre-orderers, one of the original backers, your board will be special in some way. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But the way that the battery board connects, which is one thing I really like about it, and the way I designed it, is that it connects just with these 2 header jumper pins, just like that. And that's all it takes to connect. We don't have wires where they're tethered together. We can pull them apart. This can be standalone. You can use it by itself. But anyway, like I mentioned, this was just for a GPS test I wanted to do. I was looking at possibly trying one of these LC86Ls, but these are out of production. I don't know how hard they're going to be to get, and these seem to be readily available, much more so than those, and these are cheaper, and they're tried and true in the war drivers. We know these work. So I decided to go ahead and nix this. It'll be completely removed from the board. This battery holder is for that GPS as well, so this will be removed as well. For the most part, everything else should stay. Some of this text is wrong. I had some typos, but obviously all that will get updated. And with this empty space, I don't know what I'll do. I don't know if I'll move some stuff around. I do need to shift the BW16 up a little bit. It's hanging off the board, and I want it to be flush. And then it's hanging over the micro SD card holder. I think I'm going to move the SD card holder out just enough so that we can get our thumb underneath the micro SD card. I actually like it being upside down on this board because it puts it pretty flat where it's not going to just be hit and moved around a lot. Everything else is working. I had some of my traces kind of mixed up. The power for my BW16 was just completely wrong. I was trying to power it through 5 volts, which wasn't going to work. Supplying all of these with USB anyway. It may have worked with the battery board. I didn't try it with the battery board. I started with USB because there is always that possibility you just want to run without a battery board, and it would not power the BW16. So I moved it to power off a 3 volt from the board that actually reads it, which is B. And then my traces for the B for the receive and transmit from the BW16 I had on the wrong side. I just mixed that up whenever I was tracing them out, following the traces on here. Got something flipped in my mind, so I know how to fix that now. So really, these 4 wires, and then just the identical ones for the green version of the board, will be the only things that actually functionally change for this board. Here are these antenna connectors I was talking about. They're just standard SMA. They're the same, I think it's SMA RP. I can't remember for sure. There's 4 different versions of SMA if you don't know. But everything's been working great. I ran with it a little bit today, and it's been great. So I have I think four more of these boards that are wrong. I'm not sure what I'll do with them yet, but tomorrow morning, which is the same day this video will release, I will be updating this board and ordering another batch just to test one more time to make sure everything's 100%. But I will order those as if they were final versions as well, so that if they do work well, I can go ahead and start using those in production. I have opened up orders. I have the t-shirt, a t-shirt with the Signal Sleuth guy. So you can support me by just getting a Signal Sleuth t-shirt, or you can pick up just the PCB, or you can pick up the full kit, which will come with everything except for the micro SD card and batteries. There are no batteries, but it'll have battery boards. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to 3D print these spacers, or if I'm just going to get some like brass standoffs. Those might be a little nicer to use. Either way, there will be some sort of spacer standoff that'll work there. Everything else, all the modules you need, all the antennas you need, most likely it'll just be these 3dB antennas that are included. They seem to be the easiest to get. I actually did find some 5 or 6 dB antennas that were decently priced that might come included. Either way, I know many of you will be swapping out to something like I typically use on these, an 8 dB antenna or something like that. Those may be 6s, I can't even remember. But yeah, so where do we go from here? I have backers, pre-orders, whatever you want to call them, that have been waiting for these for some of them almost a year now. They are my priority to get these out. If you order one, the kits and the boards, I will get those out still as soon as I can. But for those that have pre-ordered, I am still intending to assemble these, even though you got them even cheaper than the kit's going to be. So assembly will take me a little bit of time. So if you are one of the original pre-orders and you want to get it a little quicker and are okay with assembling it yourself, just shoot me a message and I will send you everything special that I intended to do. Those original pre-orders are the only ones that are going to get a 3D printed case for now. Everybody else is only getting spacers. And I will be including one of my War Driver Wiggle NFC coins that I made. So you'll get that in your order. And like I said, a special one-off, well, however many of you pre-orders there were, limited edition PCB. It's going to have probably a special note on it, something, I don't know, it's going to be special to just the pre-orders. Other than that, everything should flow a lot quicker than these did. I'm still catching up on these. The cases and assembly are what take me the longest on these. And with these, the assembly is much easier, much quicker. Everything just simply pops right in. If you flip it over and solder it, there was a little bit of more specific orders you had to go into with these, and wires for the battery board and stuff, whereas with the jumper pins or header pins, whatever you want to call them, make it so much easier with this version. But yeah, that's the Signal Sleuth. That's where we stand. I'm excited to finally have this ready to go. Go check out my website. I'll have a link in the description. Like I said, pick up a kit, pick up a PCB. I will mention I put all of the stuff needed for this in an Amazon cart. And to get everything from Amazon would be roughly $160. And that's including the $10 for the PCB. And I'm selling the kits for $120. Now, if you have the parts or you're willing to wait, go ahead and just buy the PCB. You know, obviously, no skin off my back. I'm just happy to have this out and going to people who are going to use it. I do not have a case designed yet. I will be working on that very soon. And once I do have a case designed, the pre-orders, like I said, are going. I will print it for them, and it will come with their orders assembled. Most of them, unless you want the kit. For everybody else, I will provide the print files. Maybe at some point I'll start selling cases, but that is not in the immediate plans. So yeah, again, thanks everybody for the support. I know many of you have been waiting for this just as much as I have. It's finally here. It's finally together. I finally have a working prototype, and hopefully in a couple of days I will have some final boards in to assemble one more test, which will hopefully be of the final quality that I am looking for. So if you have any questions, like I said, hit me up in any of my socials. Leave a comment here. I answer comments as often as I can see them. I look forward to I know many of you are going to end up designing your own case for these. I look forward to seeing those. Just keep me in the loop, tag me, and we'll see you next time.